All right, thank you guys for joining us. We're now being joined by Scott Coker. If you have a question for Scott, go ahead and use the raise hand button at this time. We'll start with Steve Jewin. Your line is live.
Mr. Coker, thank you for the time today. I've got a few questions for you, starting with the Showtime relationship itself. It feels now like CBS Sports was just a stopgap on the way to getting to Showtime. Would you agree with that?
Not really. I mean, listen, CBS Sports, they were great partners. They promote us like you wouldn't believe. And, you know, we'll continue our series with them, the recharge programming. And so we will continue a relationship with CBS Sports Network, and we will continue a relationship with CBS Sports and CBS Interactive. This is a company-wide initiative. Showtime will carry all the live events. But, you know, who knows where the undercards and things like that might end up.
Fair enough. And with this new Showtime deal, it reminds me of how when I was covering Strikeforce events back in the day, we saw the rise to prominence of people like Chris Cyborg and Ronda Rousey, Daniel Cormier, Luke Rockhold, the list goes on and on. Do you feel like this is the start of a current era of that with Showtime and Bellator?
Yeah, I have something I want to share with you here. I was talking to a Showtime cameraman, and he gave me this. He said, hey, this is from the time that Herschel Walker fought on your show in Florida, and he threw me this mic cube with the Showtime and Strikeforce logo. So it's amazing because the same crew is still here, and it's like I said, it's our family. We have a family. Our families, you know, just merged together. We have an army of people now that are going to help work on this brand. But the answer to your question really is yes, because now we have the ability to continue to tell stories. And I think Showtime Sports are very good, if not the best storytellers that I've seen. And so to be integrated into their whole production and their company, I think that you'll see a lot of stars being built here at Bellator moving forward.
All right, guys, we got a ton of questions, so we'll limit it to one per person. We'll go to Damian Martin.
Hey, Scott, congrats on all the announcements today, but I got to ask, I asked Ryan Bader this question, so I'll ask it to you now. With Ryan Bader being in the light heavyweight tournament, what is the plan for the heavyweight division? He said he's going to hold on to his title. Is that the plan?
Yeah, listen, we're going to wait to see how he does on the 9th. And then if he wins and he's continuing on into the tournament, we might consider having an interim belt. But we're going to wait to see how the 9th goes first. If he doesn't, we can't just leave that heavyweight division out there like that. So we're going to give other fighters opportunities. But for right now, because the fight is, you know, a couple months away, we're going to see how it goes for Bader, and then we'll decide what to do from there.
We'll go to Jim Barcelone. Your line is live.
Thank you much. I'm curious with just Mauro Ranallo, what he has meant to Bellator. He's also worked for Showtime. And just how his impact and what he's able to do for the company.
Yeah, Mauro is amazing. And I'll tell you, the knowledge that he has in MMA, going back to the Pride days when he used to announce Pride with Bas Rutten. I used to watch all those fights at 2 or 3 in the morning from Japan. Or when I was there, I would see them live. And so, you know, his knowledge and expertise and comfort in this industry is unmatched. And when I think about, the amount of great work he's done in boxing, it's impressive. I mean, he's done all the biggest fights, and, you know, he's grown, because I saw him when he first started, he was just an up and coming guy. And now he's, developed into Showtime Boxing's biggest, broadcaster, and did all the big fights with Mayweather and Pacquiao and, Conor and Mayweather. And I mean, there's just so many great fights he's done. It's unbelievable, the history that Mauro's had, in this space.
Nolan King.
Hey, Scott, kind of a two-part question. We had talked a lot last year about the different weight classes that you could have chosen for a Grand Prix. When it came time to sit down at the table and make that decision, how much of a no-brainer was light heavyweight, and how much of a no-brainer was it to make Romero versus Rumble off the bat?
You know what? I'll tell you. we were actually heading into a different direction, and the direction was the female tournament at 125. And so what changed that was the free agent signings. When we started signing some of the, it started with Corey Anderson, actually. And because Bader was here, Phil was already here, Nemkov was here. And it started with Corey Anderson. Okay, this is going to be, to me, I said, this is the greatest heavyweight division in the planet, which to me now it's even greater than it was, than 6 months ago. So when we signed Rumble, and then, we took a kind of a beat and see, and then once we signed Yoel, we said, okay, now this is the tournament. How could we not do this tournament? We're getting bombarded online, socially, digitally, email, people hitting me up saying, hey, you got to do this. You got to have those 2 fights, or you got to do a tournament, one or the other. And I said, you know what? Not only are we going to do the tournament, we're going to give the fans what they want to see. We're going to do this fight. And the first fight is going to be Rumble versus Yoel. Because I believe this, when the fight is there, you got to do it. Because sometimes if you wait, for instance, if we would have waited and put these guys on the opposite side of the brackets, somebody gets hurt, somebody can't fight, somebody this and that. Things happen in this sport, right? And things change quickly. So I said, hey, let's put them first. Because when the fight is there in this sport, you gotta take it and you gotta do it. So, this is a fight that the fans want to see. It's going to be huge, and it's going to be a great way to launch our tournament in the first round.
All right, we'll go to Manabu. All right, we'll move along to Donna Corby.
Hey. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, Manabu, go ahead.
All right. So, Scott, can you let me know that how Japanese fans will be able to watch Bellator from April? And also, what was your planning bring back Kyoji Horiguchi in US in the future?
I tell you, we love Horiguchi. I personally like him. I think he owes us a fight. And he beat our guy twice. So, he's a great fighter. I just saw his recent fight in Japan. You know how much we love going to Japan. We still are talking to Sakibara-san about in the future. Of course, the time right now is COVID. So it's very difficult for us to travel. It's very difficult for him to get fighters and, staff and all of us over there. So we're going to just give it a beat. But if you ask me, I think Horiguchi will fight in Bellator sometime, representing Ryzen, of course. Representing Ryzen, Horiguchi will come here and fight our champion at some point, I think, this year.
All right, Donna.
Hey, Scott, how's it going?
Good.
A fighter I asked you about right before Christmas and who has made a name for themselves without going anywhere near your cage or a boxing ring, Dylan Dennis. What's the plan for him going forward? He's not going to be boxing. That's your good friend Ben Askren is going to be doing that job. But what's happening with Dylan Dennis? When do you expect to see him back?
Yeah, you know what? I was actually texting with him the other day, and I'd love to see him get back into the cage as early as April or May. So we haven't announced the undercard fights or, the prelim fights, anything like that. But don't be surprised if you see him pop up because, we want to continue this guy's career. The guy is amazing, grappler, submission fighter, turning into an MMA fighter. He only has 3-4 fights. 5 fights, or I'm not sure exactly what his record is, but he's still in the infancy of his career, and so let him continue fighting. And we're going to get him in here as soon as we can.
Stephen Morocco.
Hey Scott, do you have any alternates or alternate fights planned yet for the Grand Prix?
Yes, Stephen, that's a good question. We do have them, but I want to announce them all together. So we'll get back to you maybe early next week on the announcement of that alternate, because we're going to have 2 alternate fights, not just 1.
All right, we'll go to Jay Anderson.
Hey, thanks very much, Scott. Obviously, the Grand Prix, big news. Why Yashi Murad of all people as that 8th man? And just to clarify, will these be 3 or 5 round fights for the non-title?
Are you talking about the tournament?
Yes.
Okay, yes. So because the champion will fight in the tournament, and the champion will put his belt on the line for every fight, which means the champion has to fight 5 rounds. So the answer is yes. Every fight in this tournament, even if you're not the champ, will be 5 5-minute rounds.
Okay, we'll go to Giancarlo Alino.
Hi, Scott. With Showtime now being accessible for viewing only in the States, just wondering if you have an update on how Canadians can watch the Bellator events coming up.
I'll tell you, we are signing a lot of international deals at this moment. And I know we're talking to a couple of broadcasters up in Canada. Hopefully we'll have something to announce soon, but I feel very confident that we'll have something to announce in Canada before the April date.
All right, we'll take another 3 or 4 questions. Let's go to Santiago.
Hi, Scott. Greetings from Amsterdam. Some people expected Gegard Mousasi in this light heavyweight Grand Prix as well. What plans does the promotion have for Gegard? And are we going to see him in the cage soon?
Well, Gegard was supposed to be here actually this week, not to fight in the middleweight light heavyweight tournament, but just to be here and be part of the festivities and the photo shoots, things like that. But unfortunately, they had a weather issue in Amsterdam. He couldn't fly here, and neither could Denise. But with Gegard, we're going to have him fight sometime, in the next 3-4 months. But he's not going to be in the tournament. He felt he was too light. And so he's going to stick to his weight class. And he did say that in the future, maybe he would fight the winner or, we could work something out. But he's a guy that we have a lot of excitement. I mean, he's a very exciting athlete, and I really enjoy our relationship with him, and he's a great fighter. And I'm looking forward to having him back, So I would say if you had to bet on it, I would say by June he'd be fighting.
We'll go to Daniel Yanofsky.
Hey, Scott, congratulations on the new deal.
Thank you.
I was just curious, going back to the potentially women's Grand Prix, are there any plans for the immediate future for 125 if you're not going to do Grand Prix soon? And after one fight, are you going to consider the next Grand Prix women's?
No, the crossover between the featherweight and light heavyweight is only because of COVID, and we had to shut down last March. I'm sure you're aware of the situation, and it pushed everything back. The featherweight tournament was supposed to be over before the end of last year. So, 6 weeks ago, we should have been finished with this fight already, or this tournament. So now there's overlapping. We have to continue, obviously, because, we have 3 great athletes there, and it's going to be an unbelievable semifinals, and then finals is going to be off the charts. And but we didn't want to wait until that was over to start the next tournament. So what you'll see this year is finishing the featherweight and the completion before the end of the year of the light heavyweight tournament. And then next year, we'll start another tournament in another weight class.
All right, we'll go now to Dylan Bowker.
Hey there, Scott. The name Kyoji Horiguchi was mentioned just a bit before, and also Juan Archuleta and, Sergio Pettis coming up on the horizon. I'm kind of wondering if you're, going to offer up thoughts on how Bellator's division stacks up on the bantamweight level, because there's dialogue about the light heavyweight quality. But as far as Bellator's bantamweight division, what are your thoughts on how it stacks up?
Man, I'll tell you, I'm really excited about that weight class. And we have a bunch of guys we just signed, Magomed, and I think that he could fight anybody on any given day. And, Horiguchi will probably be in the mix. We have Sergio. We have one. I mean, we have, a good 10 athletes there that are going to be, really exciting and fun to watch. And I would say this, I think light heavyweight, I think our featherweight, and I think our bantamweight division is probably our 3 strongest divisions, for the amount of talent we have in each one of those weight classes.
All right, we'll move on to Edward Carbajal.
Hi, Mr. Coker. I just thought it was interesting that Mr. Espinosa used the word cross-pollination when you guys announced the new partnership. I'm just wondering, how deep does the Showtime Bellator rabbit hole go? Because I know you've done like Dynamite events. He talked about again cross-pollination. Would you see yourself doing boxing, MMA, co-promoted events? I know he specifically mentioned April 9th, but like, how far down the road, obviously with COVID, do you see like maybe doing one-offs on CBS or things like that?
I'll tell you, if it's up to me, I think that there is a crossover audience, and Steven thinks so too. And I think that collectively we can put together a fight card that I think the fight fans will want to see, boxing and MMA. And it doesn't have to be necessarily a boxer fighting an MMA fighter, but why can't you go to a fight night when it's an arena around the country, around the world one day? I mean, in Japan, it happens all the time. In Europe, it happens all the time. There's kickboxing, there's MMA, there's boxing. And, to me, it's like, why can't it all be together? I mean, last year, or actually in 2019, I went to Horiguchi's fight against Darren Caldwell. And the main event was Floyd Mayweather fighting Tenshin, a kickboxer. And so to me, it's, they and the fans loved it. The martial arts fans loved it there. So to me, if we get real boxing fights and real MMA fights and cross-pollinate them, I think that'd be a great day, because I think that there's definitely a crossover audience.
Abdul Patel.
Hi, Scott. Congratulations on the Showtime partnership. I wanted to ask you in regards to the cryptocurrency situation. The market's quite high at the moment, and as we previously know, Rory McDonald got paid by a sponsor for cryptocurrency. And we're starting to see athletes now, like in the NFL with Russell Okung, the Carolina Panthers, be paid by Bitcoin as well as other soccer players. Is that something you would be interested in, athletes taking the lead on that?
Yeah, I mean, listen, cryptocurrency is, extremely hot right now. It was hot 3 years ago. And then it kind of had this wave. And really, that's something that, that's really something that I feel like we can have a conversation offline, because right now we're talking about the fights, the fighters, Showtime. To me, this is the conversation of today.
All right, let's move on to Kevin Varghese.
Hey, Scott. Congrats on the new signing with Showtime. Obviously, staying quiet in 2021 on January, not making any announcements. Then you come out with this huge announcement with the light heavyweight Grand Prix. Obviously, one of the main highlights is Yoel Romero. You're one of your new signings. What is the plans for Yoel Romero? Is it a permanent stay at 205, or are you going to entertain a possibility, if all goes well for Romero winning the title, to go down to 185 and challenge Mousasi?
Yes, I mean, those conversations have already happened. And what I would love to do is, if Yoel fights all the way through and wins the tournament, then he could move down to 85 and fight Gegard. If Yoel loses in the tournament somewhere, he can still move down to 85 and fight Gegard and Mousasi. So to me, he could either a year from now, or anywhere from 4, 5, 6 months from now, he can move down and fight Gegard. He said he'd be willing to move down to 85 and fight at 205. He's not afraid of either one.
Steve Juen?
Yeah, Scott, I just wanted to circle briefly back to Davletshan Yagshimuradov. Hope I said his name right. Where did you find this guy anyway?
You know what? He's a guy that my guys have been scouting, Rich and Mike, and they've been scouting this guy for a while and followed his career and said, this guy is a stud and he's going to be deserving of having a spot in this tournament. So, I personally haven't seen him fight myself, but, when my guys say that he's of that caliber, then, I trust him, and I feel really good about putting him in the tournament. And it's always the unknown, like when you have a fight and Ryan knows everybody in this tournament, but he probably doesn't know him. And that's where it gets a little tricky. If he eventually has to fight him, or Corey Anderson probably hasn't seen him fight much. And that's where things can go a little wrong. And, to me, let's get him here. Let's get him fighting. Take a look at him, see how he does. And I wish all 8 guys good luck. This is going to be a fantastic tournament. And like I said, they all get paid their full purses. At the end of the rainbow, there's another $1 million waiting for you, and we're happy to give it to you.
All right, we'll take our final question here from Max Morales.
Hi, I'm Max Morales from MMA Pit, and I want to ask you, for those last events we could see in Mexico and Latin America, the transmission on YouTube, are there any changes in this with this new deal with Showtime? Is still the region, Latin America, still in mind for Bellator in 2021?
Yes, that's a very good question. So right now, between now and April, I think you'll see us closing a lot of international deals, including Latin America. And I think that those will happen over the next 2 months. So right now, we want to announce this announcement with Showtime. And this week, we have some European announcements we're going to make. And then we're going to have some Asian announcements we're going to make. And then, Latin America, we feel very confident we're going to have a deal there before the first fight on April 2nd.
All right, thank you very much, Scott.
Thank you.
We'll be joined here shortly by Phil Davis. If you have questions for Phil, go ahead and press the raise hand button now. Okay, we're now being joined by Phil Davis.
Howdy, howdy. I guess I can take this off.
We'll start with Steve Jewin. Your line is live.
Thank you, Phil, and congratulations on getting that long-awaited rematch that you've wanted with Vadim Nemkov. How satisfying is it to finally have the date and the time to get that rematch and get that win in your column?
If I didn't know any better, it sounds like you just read the post I made on Instagram, but let's just say you didn't. It feels very good. It feels very good. You know, Vadim has only his stock has only gone up since we fought. You know, he obviously defeated the champion and he won an impressive fashion. And speaking of stocks, let's talk about GameStop for no, okay, no, I'm kidding. We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do it. But you know, he's a good fighter, and now a lot more people know it, and they look forward to this fight a lot more. And it's going to be, it's definitely going to be one to remember.
How many things have you had to tweak from that first experience that are going to play into this rematch to give you the win?
How many things do I need to tweak? Is that what you said? Yeah. I thought you said tweet. I was like, I'm not big on Twitter anymore, but yeah, no, you know, a lot of the positions I did win, I definitely need to tweak those, and a lot of the positions I didn't win as well. You know, normally I just concentrate on the areas where I didn't win and correct those, but I really want to drill in a lot of the areas where I did really well against him. He's a very, I mean, you saw him against the champion. I don't think he did land a head kick, but he's a proficient, really good kicker. He's a really good kicker. And preparing for that fight, we drilled a lot of kicks and stopping his kicks, just making sure we had good counters on deck, ready to go. And that's going to be one of the things I make sure I'm ready for. His high kick, man, I think he just kind of caught the champion Ryan Bader out of position, but either way, got to prepare for that too.
Danny Segura.
Phil, you kind of just mentioned it there, but what do you think are the differences here entering this fight? You just said that, you know, his stock rose. Did you see Vadim as someone that was going to become champion? Do you think he was on his trajectory to become champ?
Listen, I've already been through this. I'm not going to talk about GameStop, okay? Don't make me talk about attendees or stonks. Now, no, go ahead. Say that again.
Did you think he was going to go on and become champion, Vadim Nemkov?
I honestly did, because I fought both of them, and I can kind of see where one has holes and the other has strengths and weaknesses, and kind of play them out in my head who will win. But I did not expect it to go down like that. That is for sure. That was a complete surprise. But I did have him win the fight. You know, styles make matchups, man, and he is a good, fun style. And, that's what I look forward to. Go ahead, though.
For sure. No. Did you have anything else to say? Sorry to cut you off there.
No.
And on your same bracket, we have a super interesting fight between Anthony Johnson and Yoel Romero. So obviously, if you are victorious against Vadim Nemkov, you'll be facing the winner. What are your thoughts on that fight? It seems a lot of fans are excited for it, and also any prediction on that matchup?
I mean, not really. I haven't even gotten that far. Vadim winning the Nemkov fight is as far as I've gotten. Anything beyond that, cool. I'm about winning my first belt. There's another belt if you win the tournament, cool. I'll be happy then too. The first belt's the one that matters. But since you asked, I honestly think it's probably that's a 50-50 toss-up, man. That's a 50-50 toss-up over who lands first. Who's gonna land first? I mean, I don't know. You tell me. Who's gonna land first? That's a tough one.
All right, we'll move on to Darnell Preval.
Hey Phil, how you doing? Is this the Phil Davis revenge tour? Because you got a couple guys in there that, you know, you suffered some defeats to. You're looking at that belt to your left. Does that motivate you?
Say it one more time, just a little bit louder.
Is this the Phil Davis revenge tour? Since you have a couple guys that have defeated you in the past.
If you want to put it out there, I wouldn't. I'm not going to deny it. But yeah. Definitely. There's definitely. Oh, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I guess 4 rematches potentially. Yeah, no, definitely. This is. I mean, I never look at it as such, but why not?
Steven Morocco.
Hey, Phil, I wanted to follow up on that last question. The rematch, the potential rematch with Anthony Johnson seems pretty significant to me. When you fought him in the UFC, that was a title eliminator. You talked a whole bunch of smack at John Jones that week. Very iconic pre-fight interview, and that one didn't go your way. What do you think about fighting Anthony now, potentially fighting Anthony now? What kind of fight that would be, and what that would mean to avenge that?
It's always good to get one back. It's always good to get one back. That in of itself makes it a special fight for me. But yeah, the first fight, I mean, I want to say that's where I stopped being as green and started being a little bit more of a veteran fighter. Right around then. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to getting back in the ring or cage with him. And I have no idea how he's matured over the years as a fighter. So I'm interested to see how that goes.
Thanks.
All right, we'll take 2 more questions. Jay Anderson, followed by Donna Corby.
Hey, thanks very much, Phil. So about GameStop. I'm not serious on that. What I did want to ask you though, I mean, you actually won the last light heavyweight Grand Prix in 2015, albeit the one night variety. But does that give you a confidence boost going into this?
Different format, very different fighters. I don't draw confidence from things like that. I don't have any superstitions, that I would say, I haven't lost a Mohican or anything like that. I only gain confidence by doing the work in the gym and knowing how much hard work I've put in through this pandemic and over the years, improving on any blind spots I have and looking for new ones. But now about GameStop, if that's what you're asking, somebody got to go to jail. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. Or put him in the ring. That's all I'm gonna say. Put him in the ring or put him in jail.
Donna Corby.
Phil, I actually did want to ask you about GameStop. I lost quite a bit on AMC myself, so I know I'm down big. Are you up big from the GameStop and AMC thing, or are you mad at Robinhood because you, in fact, lost almost as much as I did?
Well, I should be up a lot more. I will tell you that they got to go to jail. Okay, these turkeys, they owe me money, and I would love to see one of those cats, who Melvin Capital Cats, whoever they are, whoever it is, or maybe it's the Vladimir guy from Robinhood, whoever it is, put them in that ring with me. Put me in the ring with them. Whatever. But I came out all right, but not as all right as I should have been.
Maybe on one of those Dave Portnoy Rough and Rowdy shows, you could fight your man.
Yeah, seriously.
All right, with that, we'll wrap it up. Thank you, Phil. We will be joined here shortly by Yoel Romero. Okay, we're now being joined by Yoel Romero. If you have a question for Yoel, go ahead and press the raise hand button. We'll start here with Steven Morocco. Your line is live.
Hey, Yoel. Thanks for taking the time. Did you resist fighting at light heavyweight earlier? And if so, why? And what sort of advantages, how easy do you think it's going to be to make that transition?
You can repeat the question, please?
When you were with your previous promoter, when you were in the UFC, did you resist the idea of going to light heavyweight? Did you not want to go to light heavyweight?
Okay, because I want that's what my it's no obsession, but I think I come in for the UFC at 185. I need to finish my in command. You know, my in command is 185. I want to take the belt and 185, and then when you finish your work, you can go up. You know, and now I come to the Bellator. That's the new in command. But I'm still thinking about the belt and 185 and Bellator. And now I come in for the 205. When I finish it here, I want to go down and take the belt too. That's what I think. That's my plan.
And how big are you going to be fighting at light heavyweight? How is this going to change, like how much you fight, what you're actually walking into the cage as, how heavy you're walking into the cage?
We right now I'm not thinking about too much weight. You know, it's more important. I'm not losing my speed and explosion. And my coaches and my team now, we're working about the power, you know, and training with the heavyweight and light heavyweight, you know. Now I have and now my weight is 210, 212, you know. The same when I not training, the same when I not training, when I stay in UFC. When I stay in UFC, we're running a little more. We're running, you know, because we need to go down. We're still running, but different, you know, not too long, you know. And I think I go with the day that I fight, I think I stay and approximately like 215, 218 pounds. That's what I think.
Awesome. We'll go to Danny Segura. He's going to ask a question in English
have a
and
translator
translate
here.
to Spanish.
I responded good? Okay. Okay.
Joel, tú haces la pregunta en español y luego te traslado al inglés. Los fans están súper enloquecidos de esta pelea contra Anthony Johnson. Todo el mundo se volvió loco en Twitter. ¿Te emociona ver esa reacción? ¿Qué piensas de la reacción que ha tenido los fans? Joel, basically, all the fans on Twitter have been going crazy about this matchup with Anthony Johnson. What are your thoughts on the reaction, and does it excite you that everyone is really looking forward to this fight?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Daniel Segura.
Daniel, Dios te bendiga mucho. Pues, Daniel, mi humilde opinión es que la reacción siempre va a ser la misma de los fans. No depende de qué compañía esté peleando el peleador o de dónde esté el atleta, sino lo que el atleta ha hecho. Los fanáticos te van a seguir no por la compañía o en la liga que tú estés compitiendo, sino cómo lo ha hecho el atleta. Y creo que la reacción, gracias a Dios, la reacción de la fanaticada ha sido nada más y nada menos que la respuesta del trabajo que hemos tenido, en este caso Anthony y yo, ¿entiendes? Fuera de Bellator y fuera también de UFC. No sé si él ha peleado fuera también de UFC, pero yo humildemente he tenido la carrera desde 1997 como luchador. Primero, después peleé en Strikeforce y después peleé en UFC y ahora estoy acá en otra de las grandes compañías del mundo, que es Bellator. Entonces creo que esta es la reacción que ha tenido la fanaticada que te ha seguido durante muchos años. Y no solamente la fanaticada reaccionó así por mí, sino que es obvio que ha sido la reacción de la fanaticada que conoce tanto el legado que ha tenido Anthony Johnson como el mío.
Yoel says the reaction is for the fighters is about the work that's been done regardless of promotion. The fans are always going to follow the fighter regardless of whether the athletes go. And the reaction that we've seen online, it speaks on all the work that I've done in the UFC and in Strikeforce and in prior years, as well as Anthony Johnson, all the work that he's been doing. So the fans are going to follow you regardless, and it speaks volumes on how the fans follow us and know our careers and what we've done very well.
Gracias, Daniel.
Y otra más, Joel. Este formato es un torneo, obviamente, si ganas, avanzas. ¿Te gusta este tipo? O sea, no hay política, no hay nada. Si ganas,
no, a mí
adelante.
A mí me gusta el Grand Prix. A mí me gusta el formato que tienen los Grand Prix. No es primera vez que peleo un Grand Prix. He peleado también en la lucha, en lo que es casi parecido a un Grand Prix. Y me gusta porque te da una energía como de bien competitivo. Es casi como yo estoy más adaptado a competir así. Yo estoy más adaptado, todo mi background de lucha ha sido así, y ha sido ganas, avanza, y así. Y entonces ha sido toda mi carrera ha sido prácticamente así.
I asked him what are his thoughts on the format with the Grand Prix, and Yoel said that he loves the Grand Prix format. In fact, he's adapted to the Grand Prix format. Most of his combat sports careers has been in this format. You win and you advance, you win and you advance. So he actually prefers this format because it gives a feeling of competitiveness that matchmaking doesn't give. So he's very excited to compete in the Grand Prix.
Appreciate
gracias, Joel.
Dios te bendiga.
We'll take our next question from Jim Barcelone.
Yoel, will you be training for this fight at American Top Team in Coconut Creek, South Florida?
You asked me if I am training for this fight in Coconut Creek?
Where, yes, will that be the facility? Will you be in Miami or will you be at American Top Team in Coconut Creek? Where will you be training?
I live in Miami, I have my gym and whatever I want, I call Dan, I call Dan and say, I need somebody with the big guys, and he sent to me because the gym is very close to my house, I don't want to focus on it's like a camp. The gym what I have is very close to my house. I don't want a distraction, I don't want nothing happen, like a mistake. And the people, I called Dan and said, Lambo, I need somebody like that, fast, tall, big, stronger. He said to me, how many guys you want to your? I said, I want 4 guys. He sent to me, and it's very good for me.
And I think you answered my next question because I was going to ask, since you will be fighting light heavyweight, if you were going to be fighting training with different people because you're going to light heavyweight compared to middleweight where the training, the different types of people you were training with, the different sparring and the different coaches. Will the coaches be the same, but the sparring partners might be different because of light heavyweight?
No, I know. I don't need it. I don't need to have different coaches. I'm still with my coaches, but now we are not different sparring because I moved to a fight. No. I have a different sparring because I have a different opponent. But normally when we training with the big guys too. You know, when we training, you have a partners like maybe 117, maybe heavyweight. You know, but now when you have a focus, when you have a fight, when you have a 100% fight, and now you bring it to somebody like your opponent who you have in the your fight is coming up.
Okay, we'll take one more question here from Santiago.
Hi, Joel. Greetings from Amsterdam. Joel, what do you think? Joel, what do you think about Gegard Mousasi's fighting style? And do you think Mousasi is a good champion for the Bellator middleweight division?
Sure, of course. You can see the legacy what the Mousasi have. He's the most longer career, tough guy in 185. You can see, he fight in Prix, he fight in Strikeforce, he fight in UFC, and now he fight in Bellator. He's a Strikeforce champion, right? Yeah, Strikeforce and Bellator. You know, I think in Pride too. I don't know. I know 100%. I say he have the belt in the Pride, but 100% I know he have the belt in Strikeforce and Bellator too. And he stayed for a long time in the UFC. Like I think in the top 5 too. You know, is amazing and great fighting.
Thank you very much, Yoel. We'll be joined shortly here by Emmanuel Sanchez. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you have a question for Emmanuel, you can press the raise hand button now. All right, we're now being joined by Emmanuel Sanchez. If you've got a question for Emmanuel, go ahead and press the raise hand button now. We'll start with Luis Morales. Your line is live.
Hola, hola, buenas tardes, Emmanuel, ¿cómo estás?
Buenas tardes, hermano, ¿cómo estás? ¿Todo bien?
Bien, sí, muchas gracias. Hablamos contigo después de la pelea que tuviste cuando pasaste a esta semifinal de peso pluma. Y ahorita queremos preguntarte, has estado tú peleando por mucho tiempo, ¿no? Ahorita la pelea que tuviste contra Patricio fue la primera vez que pelearon, fue una muy buena pelea, fue una de las mejores peleas históricas que ha tenido Bellator. Ahorita, de cara a este nuevo compromiso, ¿cómo te sientes? ¿Qué tan mejorado te sientes? ¿Y en qué diferente crees que pueda ser esta pelea?
Pues como siempre digo, estoy listo, estoy motivado y inspirado para pues lograr mis metas y también cumplir mis sueños de ser campeón del mundo y ganar este Grand Prix. Él me dio una lección buena y me enseñó mucho. Pelear contra alguien que ya tiene más cuántos años, quién sabe, peleando los mejores, siendo el campeón del mundo. Entonces me da mucha pues alegría y inspiración a saber que fui a la distancia con un peleador tan peligroso y pues que tan grande que es el Patricio. Pero yo sé que lo puedo vencer y eso es lo que voy a hacer el abril 2.
Do you mind giving that in English as well?
Patricio's a great fighter. He has accomplished so much and done so much in Bellator and fought the best of the best throughout this whole run. And he taught me a very valuable lesson the first time. And I'm very excited to show to the world what he taught me in this second run. And I'm excited to go out there and take him out because I know I showed the first time that it is possible. And I know I can go out there and make that happen.
All right, we'll go to Kevin Varghese.
Hey, Emmanuel. Look, with the whole featherweight Grand Prix going on, it's AJ McKee in the final, and he's already talking about possibly facing Patricio, as he is one of the greatest underdogs. Greatest champions out there. How do you feel going into this fight, trying to play spoiler?
Oh, it's going to be great, and he will have that opportunity. Once I defeat Patricio, then I will defeat AJ, and then they can go ahead and battle that out at lightweight like he said he wanted to, and we'll see if me and AJ have a rematch at 55 or a trilogy with Patricio Pitbull. So however way this goes down, either way I come out victorious, but we're going to have some exciting things coming up. So the matchmaker, Rich Chow, and the big boss, Scott Coker, can be busy.
We'll throw it to Jay Anderson.
Emmanuel, welcome back. To start, Patricio decided to challenge Max Holloway the other day, and that's not the first time he's called for a cross-promotional fight recently. That, let's be honest, is never going to happen. Do you feel that he's overlooking you at all, or do you take any disrespect from that?
I wouldn't say disrespect. I get it. Everyone's trying to make a name for themselves while we're not being active right now, and it's, with everything that's going on in the world, it's difficult to fight as often as we'd like, I'm sure, and to stay relevant. So in any way, shape, or form, I understand on where he's at, wanting to cement his status is, better than those guys. But it is what it is, as Max Holloway would say, right? But I'm obviously more focused on the two men that I've only needed to be focused on, and that's Patricio Pitbull, and at the end, AJ McKee. But I know that there's obviously great fighters everywhere, but I believe with what we have now, this right here, I'm going to bring some more excitement to the table.
Absolutely. And the other thing I wanted to ask you, you kind of touched on it. It's not an easy time to stay active. And originally, Scott had talked about maybe this was going to get back underway in January, or at least the first quarter. Is it a little frustrating to be waiting till April?
A little bit, but patience. Patience is a virtue. It's been a long time, and given that situation I had, with the COVID pandemic, I've still been very blessed, fortunate, and grateful to have the opportunity to still go out and fight again and be here talking to you right now. I'm happy and enjoying and living in the moment, knowing that Bellator's done great things, big things, and it's only getting bigger and better. And I'm excited to be a part of it, and I can't wait to go out and make history.
We'll go to Steve Jewin.
Emmanuel, as always, thank you for the time. A lot of things have changed in the last 3 years since the last time that you fought Patricio, not the least of which is this pandemic, of course, but he's improved a lot. You've improved a lot. So at the end of the day, if you've both improved a lot, what's going to be the difference that's going to tip the edge your way?
You know, with all that power, I would have thought he hit harder. And for being such a, great dominant champion, I thought it'd be a lot harder to hit too. So knowing what obviously I know now of being in the ring with him, and since being around all these great fighters in this Grand Prix, having the opportunity to be cage side, watching him fight, his last 3 fights, actually, I've been in attendance seeing him fight these last 3 fights. I still see those holes. As a martial artist and as a fighter, I wouldn't necessarily say they're secrets on giveaway or game plans, but I see those holes where I know I can still capitalize on, which I, razorly thin close the first time, not only just to win, but to stop him. So I know the capabilities and potential that I have, and now I just cannot wait to showcase that in the second time around.
And speaking of showcasing it, does it feel any bigger this time around, not just because you know him better, but because you get that Showtime platform as well?
Oh, absolutely. Now there's much more on the line being on in this whole Featherweight Grand Prix. And we're on a much bigger platform now and Showtime. And we're stateside. I don't need to fly across the world and need to worry about, my weight and all these other things and scheduling and time. We get to be here in the beautiful US of A and take care of business here. And I can't wait to go out and make it happen.
We'll go to Donna Corby.
Hey, Emmanuel, what's up?
How you doing, my man?
So Pedro Carvalho decided in the build-up to the last fight, maybe to his detriment, or maybe he felt he was trying to get in Pitbull's head with the trash talking. Is that a route you're going to go down? Are you going to try to antagonize Pitbull going into this fight, or are you focusing mainly on yourself?
I'm focusing mainly on myself. I don't intimidate people by what I do or say before a fight. That's nonsense. I intimidate people by hitting them. So, which I've already done before, and it's something completely different that, with all that trash talk, you got to be ready to back that up once the cage door closes. So we're gentlemen, and he's a great champion, and he knows he has a hungry, merciless contender in front of him, relentless, coming for him. So knowing that that we've already danced before, and now that we get to do it again, he knows what's coming, and there's nothing he can do to stop it. And I'm excited, man. This is going to be an exciting fight because he taught me so much, and I know from what he's done since we fought too, that only motivated me even more to grow, evolve, and develop into the fighter and the mind state in which I'm at now. And it's a much bigger and better platform now.
I kind of touched on this earlier, but I wanted to ask, is the winner of this fight, in your opinion, the best featherweight in the entire world?
Yes. After I go out and defeat Patricio Pitbull and then go on to defeat Agent McKee, yes. And there won't be any need for me to go out and talk about other big names, obviously, across the pond or across the world. There's obviously, everyone knows there's great fighters all over the world. But being a homegrown, developed Bellator Featherweight World Grand Prix champion, knowing that I defeated those and I won this Grand Prix in getting revenge on those who have beaten me before and those who have never tasted defeat before, you can't write a better story. So I believe this would cement my status as the best featherweight in the world.
We'll take our last question from Santiago.
Hi, Emmanuel. Greetings from Amsterdam. Big couple of weeks for Rufus Sport with first you in a featherweight title fight, and in May Sergio Perez is going to fight for the bantamweight title. Can you feel that in the gym as well, that there's a big month coming up?
Oh, absolutely. Got my Chicago Bulls pants on from right here. It's like 1996, 96 Bulls going out, and we're making history. Going to bring lots of gold home to Rufus Sport. We got a lot of up-and-coming fighters as well, too, and bantamweight Rafian Stotts and middleweight Jordan Newman. And I know it's very big things coming for my academy, my team, and I want to win. And I know I want them to win as well and be a part of that as well, too. So I know it's going to be a golden Rufus Sport and a golden year.
Wish you all the best, man.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. We'll be joined here shortly by Ryan Bader.
Here we go.
We're now being joined by Ryan Bader. If you have a question for Ryan, press the raise hand button now. We'll get started with Nolan King. Your line is live.
Hey, Ryan. You spoke earlier about how you really wanted to avenge your loss against Lyoto Machida. Can you speak a little bit more on that? And then also, you got Vadim Nemkov in this tournament too. So do you feel like this is kind of the Ryan Bader revenge tour, so to speak?
Yeah, for sure. Machida, I've always wanted revenge that loss, Most importantly, it was a long time ago, and it's a great gauge to see, where I came from when I literally knew nothing striking to where I am now, and so when he came over to Bellator, that's one fight that I always had my eye on. And then Nemkov, of course, he has a belt right now and definitely want revenge on that, with the proper preparation for that fight and weight cut going in there. I feel like it'd be a different story. And so this whole tournament's awesome though. Great guys, tough competition, every single fight. Belt's on the other side for now, so that means they got to make it to the finals and fight for the belt in the finals.
I'm just following up on that. You just kind of spoke to it, but do you feel like you've made the proper adjustments, the proper changes that if you go into these fights again against those two guys that you'll come out victorious?
Yeah, for sure. Like I was saying, Machida, I'm a totally different fighter than I was back then. 2012, long time ago. And with Nemkov, for sure, like I was saying, that was the proper time to cut the weight. I felt flat. I felt just different in there last time. And right when I was in my own head thinking, all right, I gotta get this going. This is not going well. That's where I got kicked in the head. So definitely love to go back to drawing board and get that one back. And so both those fights, especially this fight coming up with Machida, I'm a totally different person.
And last one too, I kind of overlooked at the Rumble fight too.
Yeah, like I said earlier on the press conference, this is a redemption year, especially in this tournament. I'm not gonna get to fight all of them. I'm gonna probably get to fight two of them, potentially. So that's all I can do on my side. But this first fight in this first round is definitely one that I want back for sure.
We'll take a question from Jacob Odelstad.
Hello, Ryan.
What's going on?
Yes, so you obviously fought Lyoto Machida once before in 2012, like we've been asking. And what are the main things you learned from that loss, and what are your main improvements that you have done over all of these years?
Yeah, with Lyoto Machida, one thing is you have to be patient, but you have to be smart about when you attack. And the first time I remember thinking, man, nothing is happening in this fight. And so I thought I was getting out of the way and coming in, with the strike when I really wasn't. I was just running right into him, So my patience got the best of me the first time. But I'm a better wrestler, better MMA wrestler, better striker than I was in 2012. Better fighter overall, veteran now, smarter, game planning, and all that stuff. I've got a guy that emulates Machida exactly in the karate world. And so, we're going to have some fun with this fight. I look to put the right amount of pressure on him and look to take him out.
Dylan Bowker.
Hey there, Ryan. Appreciate you making the time here. This might be a bit of a curious question to answer here, but I'm kind of curious if there's greater redemption to be found in avenging prior losses to some of the aforementioned opponents through this field, or in regaining the Bellator light heavyweight title, like which takes precedence?
Well, I'm in a good position where I get to do one right off the bat and then the other later. I have Machida first round, and that's one, wanted to get back, like I was saying earlier, because I get to gauge myself and see how far I've grown from that fight when literally knew nothing in the striking department. And if I do my part, I beat him, and then, I win another fight, then I'm in the finals for the belt, and that side is definitely got some great fights, and who knows who comes out with the belt on that side. So I just need to do my part. In doing my part, I'm going to get my ultimate goal, which is get that light heavyweight belt back.
Steve Jewin.
Thank you, Ryan. Since you just mentioned that anybody could come out of the other side of the tournament with the belt. Would it be frustrating to you if you got to the finals and it wasn't Vadim Nemkov?
No, the sport's crazy, right? And that side too is you never know what's going to happen. Yeah, I would want to revenge my loss, but we're in it to fight to be the world champion and to have that belt. So whoever has that belt, I'm not going to be mad because that's going to be a tough fight no matter what between Phil Davis, Yoel, and Anthony Johnson. So it would actually bring some new blood into the division, and it'd be fun that way. But for me, the championship is the biggest part, and so that's what I'm focused on.
And you talked about how in that first fight, your Nemkov fight, the first time it was flat because you had a problem with cutting and wasn't really going well for you. But were you surprised by how fast he was in there? Because he seemed to be circling you quite quickly.
I was surprised with his footwork a little bit, kind of his in and out. I hit him with a jab early, and he kept, grabbing his eye and blinking and all that. And I got him a takedown, and then I just kind of, was flat with it the whole time. My footwork was terrible. Just felt off. It's one of those nights where, just to be honest, felt off. And I remember thinking in my head, you gotta keep slipping to that side, And when I was about to turn it around and I thought that's when he threw that kick. It was a beautiful kick, set it up perfectly. So his biggest thing would be his footwork and how quick he could come in and out.
We'll take a question from Chris Santiago.
Hey, Ryan, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good. We last saw you against Rumble in SCG 19. What can you say about grappling a former foe?
Yeah, it was fun. It's one of those things where, you get paid to go out there and not get punched in the face and compete, which is great. And I got, you still have those feelings going in there. And, Anthony and I were actually in the locker room, just joking around up until we went in there and competed, So it was actually good to get in there and fill each other out a little bit and have him feel my strength and in that grappling kind of world. And it was a lot of fun. And it was kind of a little build up to potentially something that might happen in the future.
Awesome to hear. And, looking at the names of the tournament, it's a Shark Tank of talents. Is there any names that in there that were that surprised you were in there, or was there some names that you're surprised that they didn't make it into the tournament?
The one Russian guy was I don't know him that well, Yags or whatnot. I have to do some studying on him, but I heard he's a very good fighter. I thought Mousasi was going to be in there just from hearing stuff, but everybody else is pretty much who you would fill out that bracket with, the top guys and tough guys. And so not too many surprises at all.
Donna?
Hey, Ryan. I wanted to ask what your message, I suppose, would be to let's say the likes of Tim Johnson, Lyndon Vassell, guys whose now trajectory has been put on hold by the fact that you're down at light heavyweight. What do you say to guys like that?
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to make a heavyweight fight happen, as soon as possible, and Tim and I were talking on social media and stuff in respectful ways and saying, hey, let's do it. But then they came with this opportunity, this huge light heavyweight tournament, asked if I wanted to be a part of it. And it was something that Bellator and I agreed on, let's do it. This is huge for the promotion, huge for Showtime. And so we jumped to this tournament and, you never know how these tournaments play out, but, right after I'm done with this, it's a heavyweight title defense.
If you were talking to those guys, would you tell them, hold off, see how my fight goes, or would you tell them maybe go fight each other and then come back to me?
Yeah, I respect him a lot, and like I said, we've talked on, social media and whatnot, and I would say that he's next, and I believe Bellator has said he's next, and so hold tight, and we'll get it done for sure at heavyweight as soon as possible.
Kevin?
Hey, Ryan. So, having lost to Vadim Nemkov and watching him throughout the tournament, What excites you other than, what other prospects excite you in the heavyweight division compared to the light heavyweight division? Would we see a return if you lose quickly, or do you plan on staying in the light heavyweight division longer?
If I lose in the light heavyweight division, I'm going to go back up to heavyweight and defend that heavyweight title for sure. The new guys that came over, Yoel and Anthony Johnson. Anthony hasn't fought in a while. Yoel's getting up there, but he seems not to age at all. So and then guys have been around. I would say look out for Phil Davis on that other side of the bracket. I know how he is. He's a competitor. He's tough. He's a weird matchup for anybody, and I wouldn't be surprised if he made it out of there. The winner on that side. So. A crazy bracket, but those are the plans for now. Go in there, take it one fight at a time, like I did with that heavyweight tournament. And if they go win it, if I lose, I'll go back to heavyweight.
I'll take a couple more here. Jay.
Hey, Ryan. Speaking of Rumble Johnson, I mean, when he first started talking about coming back from retirement, he was just jacked. He was talking about coming back at heavyweight. Were you surprised to see him make the move back down to light heavyweight?
Yeah, I thought he would go heavyweight. So he got big for a while doing bodybuilding and all that kind of stuff, and I figured he'd never kind of come back down. But I grappled him in submission underground in December, and he was about the same size I was, maybe a little lighter at 230. So he can definitely make that weight, no problem. He slimmed down a bunch, and I'm excited for him. He's a good guy, and when I came over to Bellator, I was reinvigorated. I was ready to rock, and I still am. And so I'm excited for these new guys to come over and continue their career and be where they're happy.
All right, we'll move on to Abdul Patel.
Hi Ryan, how you doing, mate?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. I wanted to ask you in regards to your previous fight with Czech Congo. Do you see that fight ever happening again?
Yeah, he just lost to Tim Johnson, so we were going to fight him if he won, but Tim won and been looking great. So, I mean, maybe later down the road, I feel like we kind of have unfinished business, but we'll see what happens with that fight.
Yeah, definitely. I also was going to say, Scott mentioned earlier that if you stick around at light heavyweight, you potentially look at interim title in the heavyweight division. Is that something that bothers you, or is it just?
Yeah, I'm not going to stick around unless it's for the tournament. I'm going to, as soon as that tournament's done, or I get, if I lose out of that tournament, I'm going to go up and defend that heavyweight title as soon as possible. Definitely that, the heavyweights deserve that, and I'm not going to. I'm not going to win that tournament or, lose that tournament and then fight another one down there. I owe it to the heavyweight division to be the next one.
All right, one or two more here. Giancarlo.
Hi, Ryan. Just one for me. You competed against Nemkov in this new norm, like no fans, and also training through that. You did the grappling with Rumble. Does that help you psychologically in knowing that you have those performances under your belt, or maybe are some fighters a little bit more superstitious than others when it comes to that?
Yeah, it was good fighting, without the crowd, because I didn't really know what to expect. It was definitely more different than I thought. And now knowing what to expect and coming in here won't be as big of a shock, really. And by shock, meaning like not a shock at all, because you walk in, it's like you're in, you're training, and so I got to get amped up a little bit more, which the crowd used to do. So that's great having that under my belt. And then, yeah, competing always is I was staying busy and feeling those, those nerves and traveling and going to compete was great, and not only that, going to compete against somebody I potentially could fight, in this next year. And so both those things really helped, I believe.
Thank you very much, Ryan. We'll be joined here shortly by Lyoto Machida.
It's gonna be about 20 minutes, 10 minutes.
We're now being joined by Lyoto Machida. If you have a question for Lyoto, press the raise hand button. We'll get started here with Luis Morales. Luis, your line is live.
Lyoto, you've been here for a long time, facing a couple of these fighters in the past, Phil Davis, Ryan Bader, Joel Romero. So what is the Dragon seeking in this tournament? Obviously the championship, but did you feel it would be this kind of something fresh to crown yourself in this way?
I cannot understand the last.
Can you repeat the question, just the last part?
Excuse me? But did you feel it would be kind of something fresh to crown yourself this way?
Something fresh?
Yes, to crown yourself in this way.
To win. Oh, to win. What is it? My goal to win or?
Sure, yeah.
So for me, one of the biggest achievements in Bellator is to be a part of this tournament, because I consider this tournament, we're gonna have the best fighters in the world, and I'm really happy with this, and I'm really happy with my next fight against Ryan Bader. And I have a lot of fight under my belt. I consider myself as a veteran fighter, and I can't wait to step on the cage and be there for the war.
Next question will come from Dylan Bowker.
Hey there, Lyoto. I appreciate you making the time. I'm just kind of curious, with this being a rematch, like what are some of the, I guess, different stylistic tells and I guess overall developments in Ryan Bader's game that you see as compared to the first time that you guys fought late 2012?
So I think that we are always changing ourselves. Day by day, we have to change. Of course, we cannot change everything because we have our principles, our essence, but overall, we always change. So I cannot consider the fight is already past, and now I have to move on that fight and just focus in my next fight against Ryan Bader. He's a different fighter. I'm a different fighter, more experience, more fights under my belt since that fight. Now is a different moment.
We'll move on to Abdul Patel.
Hi, Leo. In the Grand Prix, you've got loads of fighters that you've previously fought. With a potential finale of yourself and Romero, I know you probably don't want to overlook your opponent that's in front of you, but what would that fight mean to you to rematch Yoel Romero once again?
If I fight Yoel Romero again?
Yeah.
The question is that?
Yeah, the question was, what would it mean to you to fight Yoel Romero again in a rematch?
Actually, when I decide to be in this Grand Prix, I don't really care about who is gonna face, I'm gonna face, because there will be only one champion. And if I put some obstacle in front of me, like in my mind, I'm not gonna be able to make it. That's why I consider all those opponents very strong, very tough, and I don't really care about anybody right now. My only focus is in my next fight against Ryan Bader.
Thank you.
Jay Anderson.
Hey, Lyoto, welcome back. Vadim Nemkov is on the opposite side of the bracket. So if you were to fight for the title during the Grand Prix, it would be in the finale. At 42, if that happens, would you consider defending the title moving forward? Would you consider retiring at the end of this Grand Prix, or have you thought about it?
So I'm still
I consider I'm in the best moment of my career because I'm more ready than ever. So I've been training for since when I was 4 years old, and I just think about my next fight because I have to achieve everything that I want to achieve, and then I'll have time to think about if I'm gonna retire or I'm just gonna keep fighting.
How different of a fighter are you at 205 pounds when you don't have to do the weight cut to 185?
I walk around with 210, 212, 215 at most, and I feel good. I train even when I fight 185. I train with this weight and I walk around with this weight. So when I was champion in UFC, I was the same weight, same training in terms of conditional training, and I consider that I'm fast when I fight 205 than when I fight 185.
All right, thanks very much.
Kevin?
Hey, Lyoto, I'm just going to bounce off Jay's question. You know, with the Grand Prix, it usually takes a toll on a fighter, you know, going through a Grand Prix. Is it comfortable enough to say that Bellator will be the final chapter of your MMA career?
Define what?
Chapter.
Oh, chapter. I don't really think about that. No. So my life is so good right now in all terms that I can consider one of the best moments for me. Though I don't really think about what's gonna happen after each fight. What's gonna happen after the final, when the tournament finish, the tournament end. I just consider to be fighting because I like to live with that mindset. I like to live with the mindset of the present, you know, because we don't really know about anything. So each fight is a fight for me.
All right. So, you know, with that said, you know, you said, you know, you have 205, you also have 185. The rematch with Yoel, would you prefer it at 205 or would you prefer it at 185?
I don't prefer either one. I just focus in Ryan Bader.
All right. Thank you, bro.
All right, and our last question will come from Donna Corby. Your line is live.
Hi, Lyoto. After your last fight with Phil Davis, did you feel that the opportunity at that Bellator title had gone? And if so, does that make you appreciate this opportunity in the tournament even more?
No, I didn't have this feeling. I just took everything as a challenge for me and as a learning. So I learned so much from that moment, not as a fighter, but as a person as well. And for me, that's the most important thing because overcoming day by day my routine, that's my main focus. That's my purpose of life. That's why learning is a part of the process for me.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Lyoto. Appreciate your time. We'll be joined here shortly by AJ McKee. If you have any questions for AJ McKee, go ahead and press the raise hand button now.
I'm just holding.
All right, we're now being joined by AJ McKee. If you have a question for AJ, go ahead and press the raise hand button. We'll get started here with Edward Carball.
Hey, AJ, I just wanted to ask you, thinking back to March of 2020, when you were in New York, you were talking about how you had just gotten over the injury with your knee and stuff, and everything got pushed back. And then obviously you fought so well, picked up that awesome sub of the year category. I'm just wondering if the extra time from the pandemic, everything getting pushed back, and now you have some time before your next fight. I'm just wondering if that's just helping you refine your skill more for an already talented fighter.
Definitely, man. I'm the type of person, you know, I can't stop training until the job's done, you know. So I'm just staying active, you know, kind of staying busy, trying to enjoy the time off, snowboarding a little bit, enjoying life, and you know, just kind of not burning out. You know, you don't want to stay in the gym too much and then end up burning out. So I'm just enjoying life a little bit, kind of coming a week in, a week out, and just having fun. You know, just kind of waiting, and once I see who the next opponent is, at that point, that's when I can begin to really take things serious.
Okay, we'll move along then to Abdul Patel.
Hi AJ, how you doing, mate?
Good, and yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. I wanted to ask you on the initial lineup when you guys came out. You said that you'd prefer to fight. You prefer to fight Sanchez opposed to Pitbull. Why was that?
I feel that just puts in the kind of the icing on the cake at the 145-pound division, alongside just to fuel the fire, the previous altercations and just badgering mouth that has been ran between him and I. It's time to put that to an end. So I wouldn't mind whooping his ass and then going up to 155 pounds and taking the belt from Patricio at 155. But regardless, I'm looking to eat the cake.
Sounds good. And saying that, do you think that's an easier fight for you, or is it what it is sort of thing?
I wouldn't say styles make fights, so I wouldn't say either opponent is easier. I feel their first fight was really close, so I'm honestly kind of excited to see how the second one plays out.
All right, we'll go to Steve Jewin.
AJ, thank you. And we've heard some talk on this call already about the winner of this tournament being considered the best 145-pound fighter in the world. I'm sure you already consider yourself that, but you've been in Bellator this entire time. So can you feel that way if you haven't fought the guys like Max Holloway out there, or are you comfortable with being the GOAT in one promotion your whole career?
Obviously, that was always a dream fight, but I'm comfortable where I'm at right now. You know, got to get some things done here, and yeah, we just got to sit down and see how things go. You know, once this tournament's over, yeah, it's back to the drawing board.
And I heard you mention that you were doing some snowboarding with the extra time that you've got. How did you get into that, and what do you like about it?
It's just control. You know what I mean? It's hips. I don't know. It's fun. I got into it. I actually snowboarded like when I was 17, and then my cousin goes, so he got a season pass, and I just previously got a season pass with him. And I've been taking my 14-year-old little brother too. So, I mean, we've just been going up there having fun and just enjoying the snow. You know, I'm thinking about going up to Tahoe. They got big powder up there. So.
All right. Well, look forward to that, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon.
Yes, sir. Likewise. Have a good one.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go to Chris Santiago.
Hey, AJ, how's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Pretty good. So a couple months ago, you had a dream where you faced Sanchez in the finale.
No, that was a couple years ago.
Oh, a couple years ago. Sorry. Have you had any more visions recently, like any more dreams that predict the future?
Nah, just kind of waiting to see where things play out. Not really. you know. I don't know.
Gotcha. Do you think we might have to? Do you think we might have to call you Mystic AJ McKee?
The Mystic Merc. Getting that cage of Merc people. That's the mercenary for you.
Gotcha. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Have a good one. I like that. Dude,
Donna?
all the names is fire on this thing. I can't get
Hey,
over
AJ.
it. When they add that. How you doing?
Not too bad. When I started reporting, I came from the world of soccer, and in soccer, it's a cardinal sin before you're playing for the trophy. If you touch the trophy, this is like terrible luck. You've got that belt, you're cradling it, you're very much holding it as if you are already the champion. Do you feel like that benefits you, or are you concerned about the superstitions around that?
Nah, I like this thing, dog. This is motivation. This don't belong to me. This is up for the grabs, you know what I mean? Patricio has his that he's won, but this bad boy right here, nobody owns this. Nobody has this with all the names on it. You know what I'm saying? So this is eye on the prize for me. That's why I'm checking this out. You know what I mean? No one has my name on anything. To have that, you gotta be a bad man.
Well, the names are on the belt already, before all of the names of the people who competed?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
This thing's ready to go.
You've trained with Anthony Pretty Boy Taylor. I wanted to know, because he is such an active guy online. He's got all these different personalities we see all the time. What's he like in the gym behind the scenes?
Exact same. The exact same. I'd be like, Ant, shut up. Like, he's a good dude though, man. He's a handful. Ant's Ant. What can you do about it? You know what I mean? Maybe in and out of the gym.
We'll go to Danny Segura.
Hey, Jay, do you see an advantage in sort of getting done first as far as being already in the final? Obviously, here you're watching Emmanuel Sanchez and Patricio go at it, and you're kind of, I mean, not taking a break. I'm sure you're training, but, you know, you kind of got that out of the way before any of them.
I wouldn't say it's an advantage. I'd say everything happens for a reason, and just inside of the cage, outside of the cage, everything happens for a reason, and I think things have lined up perfect to accommodate me in the way my life is at the moment. So I don't know. I wouldn't say it's an advantage, but yeah, things always happen for a reason. You know, you just gotta ride the wave and see how things play out and deal your best cards.
And I believe you have talked about this before, but is the plan to win here, obviously, and crown yourself champion at 145 pounds and move up to 155 and do a champ thing?
Definitely. That's definitely the plan. That's been the plan since, I mean, we could go to interviews back in 2017, I was saying this. So that's the plan.
And last one, obviously, we saw Michael Chandler do his UFC debut and do quite well. Different weight classes for now, but what'd you make of his debut? And also, was it kind of nice, a little bit, I guess, of not validation, but look, the Bellator products can not only hang, but, you know, thrive in the UFC as well.
No, congrats. Hats off to him, man. He's definitely making some noise over there. Chandler's a beast. He's got great wrestling. He's a great power puncher. For him to go over there and do what he did, I knew he was capable of it. He surprised the hell out of me, I'll tell you that. But yeah, congrats to him, man. He's doing big things. At the end of the day, Patricio beat him. So, I mean, like I said, styles make fights, you know what I mean? And that's the name of the game. So I feel my style is superior to any other style that's out there. I know how to adapt at the same time. So we're going to have some fun.
For sure. Thank you, AJ.
Our last question.
Hey, AJ.
Kevin.
Oh, sorry. Hey, AJ. Listen, with this, talks about you going, being crowned the champion, 145, 155. Big question is, is there a expiry tag on your featherweight career, especially knowing that your good friend Aaron Pico is coming up with the ranks?
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking to go up to 55s, and honestly, my weight cut to 45s wasn't bad this last fight. I think getting older, getting wiser, doing things the right way, being more mature, you just learn more, So I think with the skill set I have, I can just continue to stay in the gym, lift weights, get bigger, and add muscle, add power, add speed, add agility. 55s is definitely in the future. Why not? You know what I mean? I could put a stamp on the 145-pound division and go up to 155. And not many people can do that, you know? That's when you start making super fights, you know? That's what it's about. People want to see super fights. Those money fights are where it's at. Shit, I might go up to 170. You never know. Who knows? Why not? You know what I memean? I train with Joey Black Eyes Davis, bro. 133-0, 4-time NCAA champ, who's a 175-pounder, like 7-0, 8-0. Like we, you know what I mean? Body shot. We got guys. Like that's my cousin. We've been wrestling since we was kids together. Like this is what we do. You know what I mean? It's a lifestyle. So, nobody's going to bring a better wrestling pressure than that. So if I can deal with that at 170 pounds, I'm not really worried about too much. You know what I mean? Stand up, I just got to keep him off of me. That's my thing with him. I got to keep him off of me, and I don't think anybody can do that. And if you can, I'd like to see it.
Thank you very much, AJ.
Thanks for
Appreciate
having
your
me.
time. We'll be joined here shortly by Corey Anderson. All right, we're now being joined by Corey Anderson. If you have a question for Corey, press the raise hand button now. We'll start with Steve Jewin. Your line is live.
Corey, thank you for the time today, and congratulations on your impressive win in your Bellator debut last November. Do you feel like punching out Melvin Manhoff also punched your ticket into this light heavyweight tournament?
Hey, yeah, of course. If I would have lost to Melvin, I'm sure they would have put him in a light heavyweight tournament over me if the tournament were to happen either way. You know, I'm a firm believer in the way life happens, things happen off of outcomes, you know? So if I lost, who knows? They might not have done the light heavyweight tournament. I think the fact that me beating Melvin and everybody saying Corey should get Nemkov next, and then they signed Rumble and Yoel, and it's like, oh, he should get Nemkov next, and then Phil's name was in there. They figured the best way to settle this beef is put them all in a tournament, and whoever comes out is the champ.
Well, speaking of that fact that people were calling for you to face Nemkov next, is it a difficult proposition for you that you have to go through the tournament to get to him, or do you relish that opportunity?
No, I relish that. You know, I'm a shine like a diamond, baby. Like I said earlier, I compete to the level of my opponents. You know, I've always had that problem as a kid. I can go against a guy who was trash and go around and it'd be a super close match, and then go against the state champ and possibly end up beating him pretty bad or lose by 1 point or something. And I feel this tournament is just going to be a whole bunch of state champions, national champs. You got the guys that was world titles champs and 2-time belt champs, and you got all these big names in one bracket. So you just have to show up with your A game. And I'm just excited. I'm just ready to go out there and just be the best me I can be for 3 fights, get this belt, and then just continue the rest of my career that same way.
We look forward to seeing how you do in the tournament. Thank you, Corey.
Thank you.
Jay Anderson.
Hey, Corey, thanks very much. And, I'm just wondering about your initial reaction to getting Yagshimuradov, and I'm not sure if I got that right. I mean, were you kind of like the rest of us and had to run to do a quick Google, or was he on the radar at all?
No, I definitely had to go do a quick Google. First of all, I had to make sure my manager spelled his name right, because I thought he was butt dialing me and just sending a bunch of random letters. And when I put it in, it actually came up. I was like, wait, this is a person's name. And then after doing my research, it was like, okay, can't look past this guy because we didn't know him. This guy actually has a pretty good style. He's got a pretty good record, and he's well known from where he's from. Did my research. He's a big name over where he's from. And just because we didn't know him doesn't mean anything. So with that, I'm not looking past anybody.
Absolutely. And that having been said, I mean, were you hopeful that maybe with the performance over Manhoff, it might be you getting the title shot right off the bat?
I mean, you're always hopeful for the title shot. That's what we're all here for. If you're not here to be the best, I mean, why are you even here? Here for a check, you should have just left a long time ago, because that's when injuries and stuff happen. I'm here to be the best. I'm here to get the belt. So 100% after that fight and this talk started going, and my manager was like, hey, it's a good chance it could happen. I was excited, like, yeah, let's do it. And then I hear a couple weeks ago that they're thinking about doing this tournament, and now it's official. And I'm still excited because now it's like there's no guessing game of what's next. I was talking to one of my teammates, take me back to my wrestling days, to like a wrestling tournament, the brackets. You go there, you see the bracket, and you know exactly what you got to do to get to the championship. And that's the plan. So there's no guessing around who's going to be the champ, who's going to get there. It's you go out there and you do your job, and you do your job for 3 fights. You are the champ. There's no wondering, no debating who gets the title fight. After the tournament is over, we'll go back to all that. But right now, to get to that belt, it's a direct path. You got 3 fights, get there.
All right, thanks very much, Corey.
Kevin?
Hey, Corey, obviously, with your opponent being named, all of us had a little question, like, were you expecting once they Bellator signed Rumble Johnson, Yoel Romero, do you think you were going to get one of them instead of the rookie to the division?
I mean, you got to think Yoel and Rumble is technically the rookie to the division too in Bellator, but at that time it was like, I didn't even think they would do Yoel and Rumble the first round, to be honest, because it was 3 big names, 3 big guys that just came from UFC or left UFC, whatever it was. So to be honest, I thought they was going to give Yoel and Rumble somebody else, especially Rumble being out for 2-3 years, let him get a little tune-up fight or whatever, let Yoel get one, and then they would pick, if one of us didn't get the title fight, they would make whoever didn't get the title fight the other. And that was my mindset. But then when my manager called me, I can't remember, for like 2-3 weeks ago, and said they talking about doing a tournament, then it was like, okay, that's even interesting. That's real interesting. I got really excited. So we're here, and I'm okay with it.
Chris?
Hi, Corey. How's it going?
I'm good. How about yourself, Chris?
Pretty good. Pretty good. How has hunting been for you this season?
Hey, I was just talking to one of the PR guys. Hunting has been on this year. I passed up a lot of deer because I was waiting for the bigger ones. I've seen them. I learned a lot this season. And I'm not completely happy, but it ain't over yet. I got 8 days. If I get back tomorrow, I'll have 7 in time to get to the stand and kind of capitalize on them and just try to get as much meat in the freezer for camp as possible. Get that venison lean meat, baby. Fuel these muscles.
Awesome. And, going back to a couple months ago when Rumble and Romero were signed, there's like a lot of memes, sent to you about, your place in all of this. What was your favorite meme and what was your reaction to them getting signed?
My favorite one, I actually posted the favorite one. It was a guy, he was eating a bag of cookies. And out of nowhere, Rumble pops up around the corner looking for the guy pops around the corner. Somebody had Rumble's name over, asking for the cookie, and the guy was like, damn, I can't have shit around here. And I actually posted it. I think it got 20,000 likes and a whole bunch of 100,000 views. And I still, to this day, when I see that one, I laugh. It was funny. But, you got to have a sense of humor with these things. And I'm cool with Rumble, so ain't no bad blood. And Yoel, I've always respected him. So, like I said, I'm excited and glad that those guys came over here to join me, Bader, Phil, Nemkov, and all the other names in 205. We're just going to help grow the division. And my reaction to those guys coming was, like I said, I'm just excited. Just bringing more is putting a stamp on the claim that Bellator has the best 205 division. If you think about it right now, the UFC, they have, you put it this way, their 205 division, I don't think is that good, that they're letting the 85er come up to fight for the 205 belt, and I feel that right there speaks enough volume.
Go to Edward.
I'm glad you mentioned the meme that you posted, because that's actually what I wanted to ask you about. The one you selected, I saw it as your reaction to Rumble being signed. But now that you're in the tournament, obviously you have the opponent that you have in front of you that you're focused on now, but was he or Yoel or any of those guys, when you heard their signing, were they more of a concern to you to coming into your division?
Nobody is. It's never a concern. Like I said, I'm here. I train to be the best. So when you get an opponent, whether it's freak, scary knockout or crazy good jiu-jitsu, the plan is you go to the drawing board with your coaches, you figure out a game plan to defeat them. If you don't feel you can beat that person, you have no reason to be in this sport. I feel I can beat anybody in the world at any given time. I go in there with the right game plan, the right mindset, and stick to it. It's game over. And when they were signed, like my teammates said, hey, just 2 more victims we got to worry about you taking out. There was nothing else to it.
Because he's on the other side of the bracket too, so I was just wondering if he was somebody in particular that you were concerned with, but you just answered my question. Thank you.
With them being on the other side of the bracket, if the tournament didn't happen either way, but now it just means it's going to get that much more exciting when it gets to the finals. If one of those guys end up making it to the finals as well as me, that'd be awesome. 2 of the top tier 205ers or 2 top tier guys that came from another division fighting it out to be the best. Again, put that stamp on the best 205 division in the game.
All right, last question here from Dylan.
Hey there, Corey. Appreciate you making some time here. I'm noticing with the brackets, the championship being on the other side here, but on your side, there's certain unique opportunities afforded to you. And as far as there could be the option to, say, face, Ryan Bader in a future fight, who is, of course, the lineal heavyweight champion. Do you kind of allow yourself to think about having options in multiple weight classes, and would a future heavyweight intrigue you at all?
That was an initial plan. Even in the UFC when I was there, the plan was when I got to the belt, start opening up, fight the heavyweight too. I debuted as a fighter. My first 3 fights before I did the Ultimate Fighter was heavyweight. And I still walk around a big guy. I'm like 236 right now. So I can fight at heavyweight if I bulk up, and definitely train there with heavier guys. So to beat him, it'd just be another win. It wouldn't mean anything for the heavyweight division. Styles make fights. He has good styles against the guys he fight. But there's a lot of other big guys at heavyweight that can give him a problem that he hasn't fought yet. And it could be the same thing for me. But at the same time, once I get the belt, I'm definitely open to fighting 205 and heavyweight.
Thanks for the time, Corey.
Thank you.
All right, yes, thank you very much. Appreciate your time, and we'll be joined here shortly by Patricio Pitbull. If you have a question for Patricio, go ahead and press the raise hand button now.
Yeah.
All right, we're now being
Oh,
joined
boy.
by Patricio Pitbull, along with his trainer, Eric Albarracin. If you have a question for Patricio, press the raise hand button now. We'll get started here with Jim Barcelone. Jim, your
Hey
line's on.
guys, I'm just curious, what are your thoughts of this exciting day and being a part of this whole big event, being on Showtime and just kicking this thing off for 2021 after a tough 2020?
Quais são os pensamentos de agora estar no Showtime e iniciando ou estreando no Showtime no 2021?
I like that. We can put Bellator in this TV. So, and also we can do a box match. I'm looking for that too.
Maybe Adrian Broner. I hear he's a Showtime athlete.
I can beat that motherfucker.
There you go. There you go, Jim Barcelone.
Yes, Mr. Eric. I got one more question for you guys. So, Patricio, how do you like that jacket Eric has, Coach Eric has? Do you want him to get you one of those?
I love it. I love his style. He gains a lot of attention. So I like this.
I do it to take the pressure off the fighters so they can concentrate on decapitating their opponents.
And look good.
You do a good job of that. All the best, man. Thank you both.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Jim. We'll go to Dana Corby.
How's it going, guys? I can hear what you're saying, Eric. How are you? Speaking of that, obviously your last fight against an SPG guy, there was a big rivalry there. You and Emmanuel much more respectful of each other. He told us he's not going to try to antagonize you like Pedro did. Talk to me about the respect that you have for Emmanuel as a competitor.
Fala sobre o respeito que você tem para Emmanuel como competidor. Ele não está tentando falar merda como Carvalho.
Yeah, Pedro is a young man, but he got a loss. Now he gonna make himself a better fight and a better person. I know he's a good boy. So Emmanuel chances I already fought him, and I know and he knows it was a war. So that's why we have respect to each other.
Eric, a lot of people consider you to be the best coach in MMA. I'm hearing Patricio's English. It sounds like you might be the best teacher in MMA as well. How are you finding that? Obviously, Paulo Costa as well, great English speaker now. Do you feel like it helps you bond with your fighters, also getting involved in teaching them the language?
Yes, for sure. I tell these guys all the time that speaking different languages is like a superpower. And even for the Korean Zombie, I was speaking Korean. If my fight is from Russian, I'm going to speak Russian. So I think it's important to learn the language of not only your fighters, but sometimes even the other, your adversaries. So I'm definitely picking up on some more languages.
So you're going to learn some Irish?
I'm going to learn some Gaelic, correct.
All right, we'll move along here to Kevin Varghese.
Hey, Patricio, Eric, thanks for your time again. Obviously, Eric's, channeling his inner Paul Heyman and being the heel manager, per se, with the outlandish coat and everything. But quick question for Patricio. You obviously saw Max Holloway's performance and a former foe of yours, Michael Chandler, and everything. Obviously, you're calling for the super fights. You're calling for Max Holloway. Like, after seeing Max Holloway's performance, comparing yourself to him, do you think it's going to be a banger of a fight, or do you think, Max Holloway is a problem?
Se você lutava Max Holloway, você tá pedindo para super fights agora, se você lutava ela, vai ser uma briga, uma luta, como vai ser essa luta?
I know he's tough. I know he's good. I know his entire career. He's a great fight, but I know him better. I know Bellator is the A-League, so if they want to prove I'm wrong, let's put man against match fight and see who is the best featherweight on the world.
All right. Well, with that being said, your brother, obviously he was supposed to fight last year, and unfortunately he wasn't feeling well, so he had to pull out. Are there any plans for your brother to fight in the upcoming 2021 season?
He's ready. He's already training. He's better now. He's take care of himself and just waiting for a fight.
Acho que vai ser SPG, Peter Query.
Yeah, he's gonna fight against Peter Query, I believe.
All right. Yeah, he's fighting against Peter Queely. He's planning on invading SBG and taking one of their top guys out.
All right. Well,
2-0 Pitbull Brothers versus 2-0 Pitbull Brothers versus SBG.
Of course. Just one last question for you, Eric. After seeing all your fighters, how they did, how much do you enjoy being like a translator manager for your fighters?
Well, I'm not a manager. I'm their coach. They call me captain, and I wear a lot of hats. But all of it is just to make sure that they get to achieve their dreams, and that's what we've been doing. In the beginning, it was to get a world title, and then we wanted champ status, and we got that with Henry and Patricio. Now we're looking to go even higher and go for a third title here in Bellator, and same with Henry becoming C4 and going up a weight class over there in the UFC. So I mean, that's we all have the same dreams, and it's my job to wear as many hats as I need to help these guys accomplish their dreams.
We'll go to Dylan for the next question.
Hi there, Patricio. I'm kind of curious because the name Adrian Broner was mentioned earlier, what with the Showtime crossover and everything. Does Patricio have aspirations for just these unique, I guess, kind of one-off fights, or are there greater aspirations to perhaps contend for a boxing title?
Você tem esperanças para lutar, tipo, só luta de boxe, você tem quer título mundial de boxe, e você tá, quais são seus pensamentos?
I like challenges. If in boxing have someone who is good, I want to fight him. I don't care about the titles. I care about the challenger. I put myself in the dangerous and take over of that.
O que você falou?
Domino isso, quero dominar isso.
He wants to dominate them, put himself in a challenging position and dominate.
Okay, we'll go
Showtime,
to Abdul Patel.
Eric, you're looking like a bear. Speaking of bears, we've recently heard that Khabib is going to move on without the title, without the division. He's going to officially retire. Patricio, I know this is kind of like a fantasy matchup, and you being a lightweight champion, how do you think that fight would have panned out?
Se você lutar com Khabib, como vai ser essa luta?
Everyone knows he's a fucking monster. He's bigger than me. Maybe he has more power than me. His takedowns, but I know he's not complete. He has a lot of things that he's not good, and I can
exploit them.
Sorry?
Exploit them.
Exploit them, yes. So I believe in myself. So I think I can win this fight.
Como?
I will go to Chris Santiago.
Hi guys, how's it going? Good. My question is, who's the better dressed out of you guys and Henry Cejudo?
Who's the better one?
Quem veste melhor? A gente com Cejudo.
Quem se veste melhor? The captain. Yes.
Nice. And with the $1 million prize on the line, what are you gonna do with that $1 million prize?
I'm not thinking about the money, just think about my dream. So I don't know. Let's get the picture. That's it. That's the most important in my life.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you very much, Patricio. Appreciate your time. And thank you to all the media for joining us today. We'll have these videos up on the Bellator PR YouTube page shortly.